The newest Masters of the Universe trailer lands as more than a piece of promotional material. It reads like a promise kept to a generation that grew up with muscle-bound action figures and Saturday morning animation.
And the Masters of the Universe!
For longtime fans, the trailer functions as a milestone moment. A rare instance where the look, tone, and mythic echoes feel aligned with the childhood impressions.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real.
That reaction matters because He-Man is not simply a character. He is a repository of memory, of the tactile ritual of posing a plastic hero and the audible pop of transforming a toy. The original He-Man emerged in the early 1980s.
Dark Dream's coming back.
We know.
He gave all of us nightmares.
As part of a merchandising machine that spun toys into television. And the animated series painted a world that felt both intimate and epic. Over the decades, there have been attempts to revive that spark, from the early 2000s reinventions to Netflix's recent revelation.
I have the power!
Each offering its own approach to the bones of the myth. Amid those efforts sits the 1987 Dolph Lundgren film, which attained cult status despite budget constraints and a surprising decision to plant Eternia on Earth.
Masters of the Universe. Dolph Lundgren is He-Man. Frank Langella is Skeletor. And Meg Foster is Evil Lynn. Masters of the Universe. Coming to Earth.
That film had energy and charm, yet it also illustrated what could go wrong when production choices divorce setting from the core fantasy. The new trailer appears intent on correcting past missteps, returning the universe to a sense of wonder and scale, while also honoring the attachments that fans have long held. What stands out immediately in the trailer is the reintroduction of Eternia as a place of fantasy wonder, not a science fiction alias with metallic corridors and cold futurism. The visual design leans into classic fantasy cues, favoring organic stone, carved motifs, and a palette that feels lived in rather than clinical. It is a decision that pays dividends, because part of He-Man's appeal lies in an almost medieval grandeur rubbed with mysticism. The inclusion of the sorceress in her bird form is one of those faithful touches that quietly signal devotion to canonical imagery. It is a small gesture that tells fans the creative team cares about the emotional grammar of the original show, the iconography that shaped countless sketches and bedtime daydreams. But first,
What do we have here?
It's Castle Grayskull. And it's mine.
Not so fast, Beastman.
He-Man!
You can pit He-Man against Beastman, playing for the power of Castle Grayskull. You have to put the castle together.
Beastman's escaping.
The throne, Dad. Dad, you saved the castle.
Castle Grayskull itself is rendered with a near one-to-one fidelity to the animated series, which is impressive in a medium that often opts to reinterpret rather than replicate. The castle looks like it could be lifted from a playset and still hold cinematic weight.
Help me, sorceress. Give me the strength of the castle's secrets.
Its skull facade anchoring the world and serving as a visual promise of ancient power. There are also new geographic choices hinted at in the trailer, such as Castle Grayskull's proximity to the royal palace, where the cartoon sometimes suggested vast, vague distances. The filmic approach seems to compress the map in ways that can heighten political drama and provide clear narrative stakes. Placing the seat of rulership within sight of the locus of mystical authority creates an architectural metaphor for tension, and it opens opportunities for siege sequences, betrayals, and personal confrontations that feel inevitable and intimate. The royal palace itself reads as the administrative heart of Eternia, and its depiction reinforces the idea that the conflict here is not just cosmic, it is also dynastic, that the sword of power appears in the trailer looking screen-accurate matters beyond aesthetics. The sword is a symbol, it is narrative shorthand for responsibility, destiny, and the very act of transformation. Seeing it rendered with attention to proportional detail reassures viewers that the filmmakers understand its weight in both myth and toy shelf. The trailer also gives us the first glimpses of conflict, beginning with the palace under siege.
Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you.
And then moving to reveal interior shots of Castle Grayskull. These moments serve to establish immediate stakes. They promise that this iteration of the story will not be content with exposition and homage alone. It intends to put characters in motion under threat, to test loyalties, and to showcase spectacle anchored in personal risk. That combination of scale and intimacy is the alchemy that can make a franchise adaptation feel both faithful and vital. At the center of the story is Prince Adam, a character whose identity has been treated differently across adaptations. Some iterations played up the Adam-He-Man distinction as a secret identity that masks power and everyday vulnerability. Others minimize the physical disparity, turning the transformation more symbolic than literal. The new material seems interested in Adam as a figure with a sense of exile and destiny. The idea of sending Adam to Earth as a protective measure to keep him and the Sword of Power safe is a narrative device that rings true to previous attempts, but also provides fertile ground for cross-cultural character work. Queen Marlena, whose Earth origins were a fixture in the original television series, offers a believable link between Eternia and humanity. It is an elegant way to justify Adam's duality, to offer him context for both worlds, and to allow the story to explore identity through displacement. Visual nods to classic lore are sprinkled through the trailer in ways that reward attentive fans. Maps of Eternia that look like the artwork that accompanied vintage action figures are more than nostalgia, they are connective tissue that positions this film within a lineage. Adam's Earth life is presented with small symbolic cues that foreshadow his transformation, while the Sword of Power rests in a place that feels unlikely yet narratively resonant, inviting speculation about fate, prophecy, and the mechanisms of destiny.
But that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
The sorceress remains an unseen influence in many shots, an ethereal presence guiding the arc without always stepping into frame.
I hear you, and I am trying. He-Man, may you have all of the powers, all of the strength that dwell in the secrets of truth and knowledge.
Reinforcing her role as guardian and custodian of magic. Supporting characters and foes appear in the trailer with designs that often favor action figure accuracy. Teela arrives with armor and silhouette that will be instantly recognizable to fans who owned that particular toy. Her presentation promises both combat prowess and a fidelity to the role she often plays as the General's daughter, a leader forged in duty. Other heroes, like Man-at-Arms and Roboto, make appearances that nod to their respective playset origins. There is a tactile joy to seeing these characters realized with costume and practical detail that evokes the way kids once lined up figures for imaginary battles. One of the most emotionally satisfying beats teased in the trailer is Cringer's transformation into Battle Cat. That metamorphosis has always been a defining heroic moment, a reveal that converts timid sidekick into armored companion.
There haven't been any slime monsters on Eternia
since Dark Dream was sealed in his chamber. Come on, Cringer.
The trailer teases that sequence in a way that feels earned, hinting at Cringer's vulnerability and then promising the majesty of Battle Cat's armor. The chemistry between hero and beast is an index of the world's stakes, and seeing it treated with reverence suggests the film will honor that relationship as more than fan service. Villains are handled with both deep cuts and broader strokes. There are throwaway visual references to Skeletor's lesser-known technology and vehicles, a reminder that the antagonist is as much an inventor of dread as he is a figure of myth.
Long for this moment, because you're powerless against me now, He-Man. See if you stand up to my stun ray.
Skeletor himself receives a redesigned appearance that will inevitably prompt debates about casting and legacy. The trailer does not shy away from showing his menace and skeletal iconography, while also suggesting a longer backstory. Hints of Keldor appear, teasing possible flashbacks or an expanded origin that could add tragic layers to the antagonist. Those allusions are important because modern audiences respond to villains who feel motivated and consequential. Classic Easter eggs appear too, with fleeting glimpses of characters like Fisto, Trapjaw, and Beastman, which act as winks to the deepest fans and as world-building shorthand for newcomers. Beastman's updated look in particular signals a willingness to rework designs for cinematic clarity while preserving essential character. The trailer suggests he might be deployed as an enforcer, perhaps even sent to Earth, a choice that would allow the film to externalize evil's reach and create cross-planetary stakes. Evil Lyn makes an appearance that affirms her importance in modern canon. Her presence hints at a roster of antagonists capable of strategic subtlety.
Skeletor, wait! The widget could be of use to us. Wait.
Not just brute force. The Talon Fighter and other military aesthetics draw from later He-Man revivals, showing an awareness of the property's evolution beyond its initial run. Teasing Battle Cat's full armored reveal and the presence of dedicated vehicles suggest the film intends to deliver on spectacle while still grounding sequences in recognizable iconography. Beyond spectacle, the trailer functions as a vehicle for legacy and lore. For many viewers, it will be the point at which childhood imagination and contemporary filmmaking finally converge. The transformation ritual is a cultural touchstone, a moment of empowerment that has entered internet culture and collective memory. Seeing it evoked in a modern trailer reminds audiences why that image endures. The film also appears poised to clarify and expand Skeletor's origins, perhaps giving the antagonist a mythic depth that aligns him with tragic figures from classical lore. Those reinterpretations are important because they allow a property born from toys to gain narrative complexity. Connections to the broader Masters of the Universe pantheon are teased, references to Hordak and the larger power hierarchies, and the suggestion that Snake Mountain will retain its classic animated design indicate that the filmmakers are listening to fan wish lists. Snake Mountain is a site of many fans' dreams, a location that has been called for since the earliest revivals. Its inclusion, even in silhouette or suggestion, is a signal that the film may be willing to inhabit the most iconic geography of the franchise. Community reaction to the trailer has notably highlighted its fantasy tone and tabletop-inspired atmosphere. That response matters because it indicates a desire for texture and tactility, for a world that feels like it could be mapped on a game board and populated by figures. The trailer appears to have captured that desire, offering scenes that evoke miniature dioramas magnified to cinematic scale. What this implies for the film is the possibility of balancing spectacle with intimacy, rendering large battles with a level of care that preserves character beats. Finally, the trailer reads as a reflection on how He-Man lore was built after the toys. The franchise is unusual in that mythology accreted around a marketing object. Writers and artists infused the action figures with story, and those stories were then embraced, expanded, and refined. Modern adaptations therefore inherit an organic mythology that can be clarified, complicated, and deepened. The trailer suggests the filmmakers are aware of that history, that they intend not simply to adapt, but to participate in the ongoing construction of He-Man's world. That approach allows for both reverence and invention, for sequences that honor the past, while opening doors to new narrative possibilities. If you enjoyed this look and want more deep dives and breakdowns, please subscribe to Richard Barron Horror.